Hey guys, it's Stephanie. Today I wanted to tell you a little bit about the story of my daughter. I mentioned in my intro that my daughter was born prematurely. She was born unexpectedly at 27 weeks, 6 days, and it was just the craziest thing. I had a completely normal pregnancy. I had some, other issues. Pregnancy is not my thing. I ended up having a miscarriage in January, the year that my daughter was born, and then got pregnant again, and I was just terrified that the same thing was going to happen again. So I was super scared, and then I couldn't really feel her move, but my doctor kept saying, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I'll let you know if you need to worry. This is going to be fine. Our goal is to get to 40 weeks. And I remember one time saying, I need to get to 24 weeks. And she was like, no, Stephanie, you need to get to 40 weeks. And she was like, at 24 weeks, the survivability is only 50-50. And I was like, all right, well, when's the next big jump in survivability? And she was like, 28 weeks. But Stephanie, we're getting to 40 weeks. And I was like, okay. But in my head, I had 28 weeks because I was just like, I need to know that this baby can live outside of me, and then it can be okay, because I was just so afraid of having miscarriage again. So I went on vacation with my family and got back, and that Monday I had my 24-week appointment, and it was the first one that my husband couldn't go to. And she was like, wow, your blood pressure is really high, and then you've gained a lot of weight. I gained 10 pounds over the 4 weeks. And I was like, I was just on vacation. I ate a lot of salt. And I was like, in blood pressure, I'm sure it's just part of that. And then they made me take my blood pressure, or do my blood pressure again at the end of the appointment 2 more times. And they were like, your blood pressure is not going down. We're going to send you to the hospital for more tests. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to get my blood pressure tested, maybe get some blood work. Maybe I'll go to Chick-fil-A or go shopping in the meantime, come back and go home. Well, I got there and they handed me a hospital gown, and I was like, whoa, am I staying here? And they were like, yes. And so I had to do a 24-hour urine test and a whole bunch of other glamorous things like that. And the doctor said, you're not on bed rest, but you can't go back to work. You can't walk your dog, just all these different restrictions. And you can't do anything until you see your regular doctor again. So I saw my regular doctor again. Blood pressure was still nuts. And so she sent me to a high-risk doctor who I started seeing twice a week. And I loved him. He was fantastic and super funny. So I started seeing him twice a week and still saw my regular doctor once a week. So I was just constantly at the doctor, giving blood work, giving urine. It was awesome. And my blood pressure just kept going up and up and up and up, no matter what medications they had me on. So one Saturday, I was out with our friends. We went to dinner. We went and got ice cream. We got home at 10:30 or 11 p.m. And I totally, I'm so used to checking my blood pressure at this point that it was like no big deal. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be a little high. Well, it was like 176 over 110 or 115. And my doctor told me that day, my high-risk doctor told me that Saturday, if it got past 160 over 100, then I needed to just go to the hospital. He's like, you cannot mess around, just go to the hospital. So this time, I was like, I'm on it. I'm going to go to the hospital. I'm taking my husband. I'm taking a bag. I'm going to have deodorant, taking a magazine. I'm ready. And so, same thing, get there, give me the gown. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got this. 24-hour urine test, whole deal again. Except this time they said, oh, by the way, you're having this baby tomorrow and we're transporting you to a different hospital, which then takes you to a whole new level of terror because you're like, oh my God, this baby's going to be born. So I get to the other hospital, the NICU comes down and starts talking to us, tells us what to expect, gives us a brochure for 24 through 27 week babies. And I was like, no, I need the 28 week brochure. I need this baby to get to 28 weeks. And told me I was going to have a C-section, this whole thing. And so we were totally prepared for that, as well as you can be having a baby that early. And then a few hours later, the doctors were like, we were able to stabilize you, so we're going to send you to antepartum, which I had no idea even existed until I got sent there. But that's basically where you go if you're waiting to have a baby and you have issues like this or something along those lines. So I spent time in antepartum, and the doctor came in every day, different high-risk doctor, came in and said, okay, we think we're still going to be able to get you to 37 weeks like your original high-risk doctor planned, and you should be able to go home in a few days. Sounds great. Next day he came back and he's like, your blood pressure is a little bit high, your blood work's getting crazy, so we still think we can get you to 37 weeks, but you're not going to go home for another couple days. No big deal. The next day he comes back and says, your blood pressure and your blood work are still going up. So we're hoping we can get you to 37 weeks. Might not be able to get you there. And you might not be able to go home, but we're still on this path. I said, okay. The next day he came back and he said, okay, your blood work is out of control. You're going back to labor and delivery. You're having this baby today. And we were like, oh my gosh. So my blood pressure was just absurdly high. So ended up having my daughter via C-section, and she was 27 weeks, 6 days. Very close to 28 weeks. And she immediately went up to the NICU. We got to see her for a few minutes, but I was on so much magnesium, which super sucks. Totally get why I need it, but miserable experience. I had 3 24-hour drips of magnesium, and it just makes you crazy and gives you double vision. It's terrible, but again, completely necessary, particularly in these situations. So my daughter comes down, or they bring her in. She's in the incubator. She's in a plastic bag. She's teeny. She was 2 pounds, 2 ounces, and 14 inches. So it's like 2 bags of chips, and slightly bigger than 1 foot. Crazy. And so it was just crazy. I mean, she ended up staying 12 weeks and 1 day there. She went home on her due date, and it was just a heck of a ride. She ended up getting a severe lung condition, spent a month on a ventilator. Horrible, horrible situation. And I'll tell you more about that in another day, another video. But once she beat the lung condition, she was like, okay, I'm done. I'm over this. We're moving on. I'm taking on life. She's an insane fighter. It's really impressive. She's definitely stronger than anyone I've ever met. So through these opportunities of getting to know the people at the hospital better and meeting the doctors and being part of that world, and then I met my preemie friend, who I also mentioned in my first video, and got involved with March of Dimes. Now my daughter's an ambassador for the March of Dimes locally, which is really cool. It's just a whole new world. It's a world that you never know exists until you're there, and it's the scariest thing in the world. The NICU is the sweetest and the scariest place all at the same time. And you really just don't know what anything holds from hour to hour, because it's nuts, and nobody can control that really but the babies. The doctors can do everything they can, but ultimately it's the babies. 3 of the 4 babies around her did not make it home. And to think about that is just the craziest, scariest thing in the entire world. And I feel so lucky that we have this perfect little human that we get to raise, and don't really know what we did in life to deserve something so amazing, but we must have done something, or perhaps that's like all of our luck for the rest of our lives, because she's pretty amazing. By pretty, I mean 100%. So anyway, this is a picture of her when she was born. Hopefully you can see that with the sun coming through. But this was her. She, again, 2 pounds, 2 ounces in her little bag. And then this was the day she went home. Not my favorite picture of her, but definitely a difference. And this was her in her going home outfit, which we loved. And that headband was so big we had to tie it. And she looks kind of big in that picture. She was about 6 pounds. But this is her in her car seat to go home. I mean, she's like a little teeny peanut, but the cutest little peanut you'll ever see. And then this is our preemie friend. This is Nicole and her daughter. That's me and my daughter. And then this is what my little pumpkin looks like now. So she's a whole perfect 100% normal 20-month baby, and it's amazing. She's just hitting all of her milestones, and she's fun and sweet and just everything you could ask for and more. So anyway, that's the story of my baby and how she got here and how that all happened. And that was a huge impact on our life. So wanted to make sure that we shared that story, because that's the basis for a lot of our other things in life now. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's a collage from her first month in the hospital too. So thanks again for watching. Really appreciate it. Happy to share the story of my daughter with all of you. Until next time.